So I did gender in the home, in traditional homes and non-traditional homes, and its causes. So gender in a traditional home mostly will look like the patriarchy. So a traditional home is usually a mother and a father. The mother is going to be doing the cooking, the cleaning, the taking care of the kids, usually a stay-at-home mom, whereas the father is going to be doing the providing for the family. So they will provide the money and the shelter for them. Usually the mother is a female and the father is a male. So next I have a little quote from one of my resources. Housework is asymmetrically distributed by gender. This uneven allocation is an important indicator of inequality between men and women. So this just shows that the housework is divided by gender usually. This can cause major problems between a married couple because it can cause a rift almost. So these days, women are much more likely to have a job outside of the house, mostly for financial reasons. That's just kind of necessary. Um, it also can put a strain on the relationship because now they have to figure out who is going to be doing the typical mother jobs of the house. So now women are working 40-hour work weeks, but they are also expected to be doing the cooking, cleaning, and the taking care of kids. So now it is saying that women are likely to work a full time job and a part time job once they get home. This can be almost detrimental to a relationship because the women are exhausted after a day of work and expected to do more when they get home. This is just a very unequal distribution of housework, and it can be very frustrating. Also, the financial income for a couple has no relation to who is going to be doing the housework. So, if a female is doing more work but also earning more money at her job, doesn't mean that she's not going to be doing the housework when she gets home. She could very well likely be making more money out of the couple and be doing the housework at home. Where in a typical traditional household, the man who is the breadwinner is not doing the housework as well. So that can be frustrating for a lot of women. I think a big problem is that men often feel entitled to just coming home and relaxing and enjoying their time from after work because they have primarily been the breadwinners of a lot of households. But when these roles switch and the female is now the breadwinner, the men feel like it plays on their masculinity and that they don't deserve to have to keep working. Whereas the women feel like they do have to keep working because that's their traditional role in a household. In a non traditional household, it is mostly made up of either two parents of the same sex, a single parent, or even an interracial couple these days. Um, a non traditional home is just as important as a traditional home. It's important to have parents for these children that are caring and there for them no matter what. Um, for many years, we have seen it as not okay for same sex couples to have children, mostly because society made it a stigma that they will cause the children to be gay or lesbian or something along those lines, whereas that's really not true. Oftentimes, we want women to have babies. We are constantly asking them, when are they starting a family? When are they getting pregnant? When do they want to have kids? But as soon as society realizes that they will not be doing this with a man, they automatically do not want them to have kids. They are going to make them feel bad about the fact that they are having kids. We are often discriminating towards black mothers. We have a lot of stigmas and stereotypes that there will not be a man or a male figure in the household for their children because Black mothers are usually single, which is really not always true. It's, just like I said, a stereotype. This can be very frustrating, and single parent households struggle just like same sex parent households. And so it can be frustrating for single parent households too, because they have a lot of responsibility. They are often faced with more responsibility than a two-parent household, because they now have to fill the role of both parents. Now they have to be the breadwinners and take care of the house, and they don't have any extra hands to help them. They're holding down full-time jobs, sometimes two jobs, while also doing the housework and taking care of the kids. This is all very stressful for a lot of people, and a lot of times a single father will struggle more with this, just because the way that they were brought up is often them being taught to have little empathy or little emotion and not know how to convey that or show that towards their children. And this can be harmful to the children too, because now they are missing out on that nurturing part of their childhood. And it can be harmful to their emotions. Toxic masculinity and the effects on children are two very important topics that go along with gender in the home. For example, toxic masculinity is the idea of how men are supposed to act in society, not show any emotion. They're supposed to want to feed off of other people's power and be aggressive and dominant, and it can be very harmful to have that carry on to children. When we are teaching our young boys these toxic traits, it's often going to stem into their growth, and that can lead to entitlement, and it can make them think that they are owed something. It often will create problems with narcissism, and that can not lead well into relationships and how they treat other people in a workforce environment and so on. This is all just not good for children, and so I think it's important that we realize that this all stems from those gender stereotypes that we are showing kids from when they are young. With gender stereotypes, we're showing that moms are meant to stay in the house and dads are meant to go off to work. And girls are supposed to play with Barbie dolls and like the color pink, and boys are supposed to play with trucks and like the color blue. All these stereotypes are not helpful to these children, and it can be harmful to their growth. We want our kids to be expressive and free and think whatever they want. And when we make these gender stereotypes a specific part of their life starting from a young age, that is not good for them and for their growth. They need to be able to morph their own opinions and come up with things on their own, and not just what we plant into their head at a young age. And these are my references that I have gotten for my paper and my PowerPoint. So thank you.